Michael Jackson's Thriller album.
Stories in the Room.
This is Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room. Join film composer Anthony Marinelli, who programmed synthesizers for 7 songs on Thriller, and A&R veteran film producer Stephen Ray, who assisted Quincy Jones and was in the studio every day with Quincy and Michael.
Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room.
I'm Anthony Marinelli with my longtime close friend and co-host, Stephen Ray, bringing you the real stories directly from the talented people in the room with us during the making of Thriller, the greatest selling album of all time.
Well, you know that great story, Anthony, and Greg, when David Williams, when it came to do the a certain guitar part, he could on Billie Jean, he couldn't remember the part that he had played at the house. He had played at Michael's house. I have to remember to call him Michael on the podcast and not call him Smelly. But it's the name, of course, that Quincy.
Another nice name.
It's in all the books now. That Quincy has a nickname for everyone. So, and he couldn't remember it. And we were in the studio. He kept trying. And Quincy looked at him. At one point, he goes, "Dude, you've already done it. You already got it." So they just bounced it. They bounced it from what we used to call the slave, right? That's the B reel.
And I think that came from Arizona. It came from a model, a 3M 79, like it wasn't even the same tape deck. Quincy went to that extent. And that's another thing. Who would do that? They got that 24 track. Yeah, because I remember
Slave Machine came from the other machine came from
it came from Arizona where David did the demo. That's that's what David told me. Because he couldn't play it. Because David would do that all the time. He'd go, well, just make sure you're recording. Make sure you're recording, because I might not do it again the same way.
Yeah, he might not do it the same way.
But Quincy did all that.
Because he was literally in the studio and Quincy saw him getting really frustrated. And he finally looked over and said, he put his hand on his shoulder and said, "Yo, man, you already did it. We got it." and you saw the relief on David's face.
All happy.
All happy, like, oh my God. I mean, that's one of the examples, of Quincy always being supportive and encouraging and just, hey man, it's all good. It's good. We got it. It's just so beautiful, and Greg, you covered you're covered more of the album than anyone as a musician. I mean, you played on so many, you just share with us all the songs that you played on the record. You remember all the ones you played on? Just share that with us.
Well, I can tell you that I'm not on Human Nature. Didn't quite need me for that.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve Porcaro, for being the brilliant musician that you are. Let's see. All right. Well, okay. So let's review. Hang on. Let me get my thing together here. So, of course, the title track.
Right.
I'm on. And then we have... Oh, no. Sorry. Then we have... Okay. Well, everything else.
Yeah.
I'm on everything else.
You're on everything.
Okay.
You're
so
on everything.
Let me... Okay, so let me tell you the story about... let's see, 1, 2, 3 songs. I'm going to tell you a little quick story about 3 songs. 3 songs off of Thriller. So Quincy, I have no idea why he did this to me, but he had me come along with him and Rod to Michael's house for a demo meeting. Okay. To this day, I have no idea why he chose me, but I'm so glad he did. I get there, I meet Quincy and Rod at Michael's in Encino, and we're having a demo meeting. And this is where we got our private world premiere of the demos for the following songs: Beat It, Billie Jean, and Starting Time.
That's right. I was there. I remember.
You were there too?
I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because you brought him there. Okay, right.
Yeah, because I brought him there.
So, you brought him there. So that's what we got to hear. And among other demos, including, Tony, the demo for Behind the Mask.
Oh,
So at the end, and I was working on my album too. So at the end of the meeting, I said, "Look here, Michael. That Behind the Mask. If it doesn't make it on your record, you think I can take it?" He said, "Sure." What? That's how I got it.
Wow.
nice.
Didn't know that. That's great.
So that was a candidate though for Thriller. I see. That was a candidate for
Yes.
Thriller then.
Well, yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that.
That was one of the demos we played. Yeah. So that was one of them. And so starting something. Yeah, I mean, I remember, playing the parts. The bass line. And I remember when I did a podcast with Questlove, he was just fascinated by the fact that I could sit there and go for 5 minutes. He's like, "What? You didn't cut and paste that?" I go, "No, we didn't.
Come on.
We didn't work like that. We actually played the song. There's none of that sequencing mess. We actually."
Yeah.
So and then Baby Be Mine, please, another great one from Rod.
Right.
I really enjoyed playing the synth bass to that, the Rhodes, and the other little sweet harmonic parts. Let's see. The Girl Is Mine, please. Well, 2 words, Paul McCartney.
Right.
2 words.
I mean, I got to be in a room with Paul McCartney, a Beatle.
Were they
Come on,
singing?
man.
Were they singing when you were cutting the track? Like really old school?
Oh, you know what? I think so, because I remember getting solo pictures of Michael and Paul when they were doing their vocals, and it was around the same day. I was the same day. I'm pretty sure it was the same day.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a glorious session, man, and we had so much fun. We were all in awe, me, David, Page, everybody. We were all just awestruck, and Paul could not have been more gracious. And the punchline to that is, as if experiencing the session and being in the same room with him wasn't enough. Days later, Paul got everybody's addresses, everybody's home addresses. He collected everybody's home addresses and sent us individual thank you notes.
Yeah.
Wow, for playing on the track?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Quincy told me that.
And I mean, it's just something that blows your mind, that you think that person would have the presence of mind to go to that length to be gracious. It's staggering.
Yeah.
The only thing I regret is that I don't have the letter still. But there are plenty of people who do. But I mean, he was just so wonderful. And I'm going to show you now. I may not have the letter, but I do have this.
Oh.
There you go.
Great photo.
That's so great. Yep.
Well, it's like when you review, it's like, you go, okay, I know who that is. I know who that is. I just want to know who that is. But who's that guy? How did he end up in there? How did that guy end up in there?
Oh, that's so great.
Yes.
Well, that guy's making his own history right now. He's continuing.
He sure is.
Continuation.
Well,
it's all a continuation, Greg, because you're passing it along. It is.
So
that's who that guy is.
So Greg, this is really funny. Just how nervous I was. P.Y.T, right? So
yeah,
James, there's another longer story on how that was created, where Quincy got the title from. One night when we were driving home from the studio, I was taking him back up to Bel Air, and we were on Santa Monica, on the corner of Santa Monica and Cannon, right there at the old Beverly Hills post office, now the Annenberg. And we were at a light. It was probably like 12:30, almost 1 a.m. And this Ferrari pulls up with these two really, really quite attractive young women. Quincy had the window down. We were blasting, the tracks from the earlier in the day. That's what we would do. We listen to them on the way home. And he looked over and that's when he said, "Oh man, got some pretty young things there," And literally, we get up to the house. He calls James Ingram. Debbie picks up the phone. He says, "Debbie, can put James on the phone." He said, "I know y'all probably sleep." James gets on the phone. He says, "Man, I got this title, man. I got this title. You got to write this song. You're just the cat to write this song." And that's how it happened. But I remember Quincy saying, "Man, Roper, get out there with them." And we did the hand claps. Do you remember, Greg? It was you, me, Michael doing the hand claps. I think with Lewis. Or it was James. It was James.
Wow.
It was James, you, me, and Michael.
James,
yeah. And how fun that was.
Wow.
Doing those hand claps on P.Y.T.
I could add to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
James had no time. Well, he had no time to write that song.
No, none.
Because this is like in the middle of the album.
Yeah.
Like all the other songs were like, really people spent time on them and they submitted them and they went through a process and they changed and they demoed. So he's just like trying to write a song to go on Michael's next solo album after Off the Wall. It's like, what am I going to do? And so he comes up with the song, right, based on P.Y.T. and there's no studio available to demo it. So Quincy tells me, go out in the hallway and meet James. I'm like, "Oh, James Ingram? Okay." So I have the Lindrum, right? Here it is. This Lindrum.
There it is.
I put it on top of some anvil cases that are in the hallway. And James says, "Okay, here's a song form." And he just tells me the whole song form, intro, verse, chorus, break, the whole thing. I program it all into the Lin and you could like make it play the song mode. He has the whole song perfect. And then you guys, like within a day, were in the studio B. It was you and Lewis Johnson and I think Paul. It was Paul. Was it Paul or David Williams? David Williams.
No, I'm pretty sure it was PJ.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I think you're right. And then the Lindrum, and I'm sitting there with the Dr. Click. Remember that thing? Right here. Like
there it
just
is, right
changing
there.
the tempo, just
That's
slightly changing the tempo here and there, but like it never changed the form. Like nowadays you change the form all over the place. James had the song like done. He's singing it. You guys are playing it. I'm like, remarkable. And you guys just got it. You were driving that rhythm section show, basically telling people, loud here, here's a good idea. And you kind of just head arranged it. And it's
well, no, I remember getting specific parts from James though, because that whole.
Well, he was there.
Oh yeah,
he was there. He was saying like how Rod would just like sing parts, but then you did your thing with it.
You definitely did, Greg.
You were,
and you remember.
You definitely did.
Do you remember the demo? I mean, James singing that song.
I do, because I remember James saying where he got the intro from. The Look of Love.
Yeah, exactly. So, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that.
And James was singing. James singing the demo.
It's the Look of Love, and he admitted it. This is the Look of Love right here. He totally kept to it.
But his
hilarious
vocal, his vocal on that when Michael said he came to Quincy, he says, "Man, I can't sing this song like James. James is singing that song." That's what he said to Quincy. He's like, "I can't." James is singing that song, and Quincy looked at Michael and said, "Man, you do your thing. You put your thing on it." And that's what he. So he's almost like mimicking James in a way, because James is is putting it down. Yeah. And if you listen to the whole record,
that rasp and everything.
Yeah, I mean, Michael is singing that different than any other thing he's ever. I mean, the way he's putting it down. It was definitely, it was so unique. I mean,
he got into the character.
Exactly. And that's the genius of him, that he would go into the character and it's
Yeah.
just I mean, even him singing back on the Whiz, he's on down the road. I mean, he knew, he was just so brilliant.
Yeah.
That way. But
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun. I just
Yeah.
remember, I'm like, wow, I'm out here doing hand claps with Greg Phillinganes, Because I remember when I first heard your name, when I first saw you on the credits, because Anthony had to talk about this, we would read, we were young, we read these credits. I would read all the credits.
Mhm.
And I'm like, who's this cat from the islands? Is he from the Caribbean?
What kind of name is that for?
No, well, I thought you were from the Caribbean or something. I was like, he's from the UK or he's from the islands?
Yeah.
Phillinganes.
Yeah, people used to think I was some like tall, really tall Greek guy.
No, but
That
then,
was a surprise.
no, but then when I saw your face, I said, "Oh, he's from the Bahamas."
Well, close. I have West Indian
Oh, see, so I was right. I was close.
in my family. Yeah, my mom was West Indian, from Trinidad and Tobago. So there's that whole.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off.
Yeah, you were very
No.
mysterious. You were still mysterious to us, though.
Yes,
And then we
yes.
would listen who the person is.
I
Because
was like,
that's
who
true.
is-
I didn't see his
yeah.
face. I would just read the credit and hear all the music.
Right,
I'm like, what's this guy look
right.
like?
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this cat? Who is this dude, man? He's everywhere.
I'm so
He's
happy.
all over.
I'm so happy you're who you are, though. It's not a
very
disappointment, man. It's like it's a big payoff. Who you are after hearing all the music and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very kind.
Join us for the next episode of Michael Jackson's Thriller album, Stories in the Room, with your hosts, Anthony Marinelli and Stephen Ray. Watch our extended interviews on youtube.com/@storiesintheroom. Audio-only interviews are available on all podcast networks. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok @storiesintheroom. For the latest news and links, visit the website, storiesintheroom.com. This podcast is produced by Christian D. Bruun and David Wolf, recorded by Audivita Studios. Additional recording by Ben Rackless. Edited by Jay Spang and Sean Hedinger. Music by Anthony Marinelli and Stephen Ray.
Michael Jackson's Thriller album.
Stories in the room.